Hi, this is Kris from the Apartment Dealer, and you're viewing the rehab of a property that I recently bought here to improve and to own, my wife and I. And we're actually combining two segments, or we're bringing together two visits to the property because number one, there's been enough progress to show you where we are with the property. But more importantly, I got a call, an emergency call, that the main water line had broken. And how this all started was the mainline sewer actually backed up and it needed a simple clearing. But the plumbing crew that I sent here to clean the line, they happened to walk past the water meter and noticed that there was water in the water meter box. And they gave me a call and said, hey, maybe you just have a slight leak at the water shutoff, or maybe it's something bigger. So the contractor that I have here working on site, Miguel, who you've met in some of our other properties, looked into it, started digging around, actually brought the gardeners that we typically use on our projects, and they started trenching, and they actually found two leaks in the main water line. So if you follow me, it's all muddy and wet still because we literally just finished the repair, and we're going to show you some live footage of when it was just spewing out water. But of course, this is our water meter, and then the main takes a straight shot, we thought, to the first building, because there's two buildings here, and then our assumption was it teed off closer to the building. But once we started digging, what we actually found is the line came in and then it teed all the way down to the end of the second building. So that's how they had initially installed this plumbing. So we got to install a new run from the meter to the first building, and you'll see that's all fresh soldered copper. Now, I could have went with PVC, and you guys, if you're avid viewers of our show, you know that Kris doesn't cut corners, and that's cutting corners in my opinion. To that point, I would also say, if your cash flow goes negative just because you go with copper instead of PVC, that's probably not the best deal, but that's just my opinion. We went with 1-inch copper from the water meter to the first building, and then of course from the T, we brought it, and you'll see some B-roll, some video here that we'll show you because it's all underground now. But all the way down, they had a trench, I don't know, 70 feet or something. And then come into the second building. And so what we hadn't kind of shared in the previous videos is, so there's two buildings. 2 units in each building. The remodels are taking place in 2 units, which you already know, but those 2 units are not side by side. The first unit is here on the left side of this building, and the second unit we're renovating is the unit on the left side in the second building. So since we're not doing all the units at once, what we're able to do is we install a shutoff, because these units did not have any shutoff aside from the main. So we have this first shutoff, which will cut, we have this first shutoff that actually will cut the supply to the entire building. But again, just because you have a leaky toilet in one unit, you don't want to cut off water. So we have a shutoff here. Now you'll notice that this pipe bulges, or not bulges, but is extended from the wall. The contractor and I have already had a conversation because I could already see a 10-inch child stepping on this. That'd be a lot of fun. So we are going to bring this back and tack it closer to the stucco wall. So that is going to get taken care of. But the unit, this unit that we're rehabbing and redoing the plumbing in, is going to have its own shutoff. Then when the day comes and we're able to do this unit will have its own shutoff as well. And you'll see that there's the same type of setup on the other unit. So as you can tell, we've already installed our retrofit windows. If you remember, if you watched the first installment, we didn't just go with a box window. We actually have installed retrofit windows, and we have installed brand new front doors. We could have went with something really plain, just a typical 6-panel door, but we went with something a little bit more modern. And some might be concerned that this glass is a little too transparent, especially for safety for the tenant. So we're actually going to have somebody come back behind us and actually frost the glass, and we got the doors fairly inexpensively that we can justify the cost to frost the glass, and then at that point we have a really great looking door. Let's take a look inside. If you remember, I discussed a box window versus a retrofit window. Now it's not finished, of course, but when we have a finished product, if I would have just used the box window, you would still have the old trim and the old window ledge here. But by going with the retrofit window, by the time we're done, we put some corner bead on here, with new drywall. It's gonna look more modernized, more like a typical window you would find in new construction today. Matt will assumably put some B-roll here, but you'll be able to see that we are already installing the new electrical. We ran all new electrical. We've also installed our recessed lighting. So we have recessed lighting all throughout. And I also mentioned in the first video that I was in between, do we use a split AC unit or do we install units that go installed in the wall, and maybe we would put one in the living room and the bedroom. After evaluating cost, we have decided to go with the units that go installed in the wall. So our unit for the living room will go here, and this unit will be both air conditioning and heating. And then we've eliminated the wall heater, so that's the new drywall you see there. No need for the wall heater because again, that's gonna heat and cool. Okay, it's a little messy in here, but just so you know, this is real. There's no set, there's no staging this, but Matt can swivel around so that you can see, in fact, we have new conduit that's being ran in the walls. As Matt trips over a soda can, doesn't get much more real than that. We have our brand new copper piping that's gonna go installed. Now, a note on copper piping. There's actually two types of copper, I assume everywhere, at least here in California. You have type L and type M. Type M sounds like a great idea because it's more inexpensive. Horrible idea because you're definitely gonna get pinholes in that copper over time. We go with type L. It's the thicker stuff. It's the stuff that we put in all our units. And once you install it, it's done. No thoughts about any type of maintenance. I'll have Matt follow me this way. Of course, we're bringing the electrical up so that we have a plug for the garbage disposal, switches and what have you. We have the recessed lighting that's already gone in the kitchen. Not much has taken place in the laundry room as of yet because we haven't got to the plumbing, but we have made the decision that instead of going with a tankless water heater, which we were going to install here, because of cost, we're actually gonna we're gonna buy a new water heater, but we're gonna move it outside to the end of the building. And then of course, we're gonna get our laundry hookups in here. We've already replaced the window that was here previously with a new window, and we have a new back door. Now, these back doors, or this type of door, I should say, is really interesting. Instead of having some flimsy blind that keeps hitting the glass every time you open and close the window, if you haven't seen them already, and actually this year I just learned about these doors, it actually is fixed in the window, the pane of the window itself. So basically, there's no messing up the blind, the tenant crinkling the blind, getting it dirty. And so it gives them some sunlight, but it also gives them the privacy. And it's just one of those small items, a few more dollars than a typical 6-panel back door that's gonna make all the difference when we show the unit and we have it cracked open. And once we have our landscaping done, they come through, they see it. It's just one of those things that is gonna help us maximize the rents. I already mentioned we've eliminated the wall heater. And then as you step this way, if you remember, we discussed that there was some storage here that was set back. We've already installed the new drywall to bring it forward. We're gonna install the pantry here soon. And as we come into the bathroom, it's dark because there's no active electrical right now. But soon, as you see here, just from age, this wood obviously is not going to act as good support. We're going to have to essentially redo this and secure the tub in place, give it some reinforcement. They've began to run the electrical. Of course, we'll get all the new drains and copper ran in here. And the lighting is still yet to be done in this bathroom. As we come into the bedroom, you may remember from the first installment, there was an opening here for a really small residential AC unit. We go with something larger, and I'm actually going to give you the model numbers of the AC units that we use. They're made by Olmo, O-L-M-O, and we'll actually give you the location that we purchased them at in case you're here in Southern California. Maybe that would be a good resource for you. Again, free of charge. Those people don't pay me to promote them. We don't charge for any of this stuff. I just want to share that information with you. And here's where our second AC unit will go. This AC unit will be 8,000 BTU, just AC. It's a small room. I forgot to mention in the living room, that's going to be a 12,000 BTU, higher power, because again, it's heating and cooling, and it has to essentially cover the dining room, living room, and so forth. So we're not as far along in this second unit. You see that we have the Romex dropped for where the recessed lighting will go. Of course, we have more of the walls still cut open and exposed for where the lights and switch are going to go. One thing you've heard me mention before is that in our units we use Decora switches and plugs. Why? It just looks more modern. Here we have the outlet ran. It's not fixed yet, of course, but that's Decora square. You say, Kris, does it matter? Well, that's an old style one, right? We haven't got to that plug as of yet. It just, again, for a few pennies, nickels, quarters, it just gives the room a better feel. Now these doors, again, a step up from a 6-panel door, but not much of a step up in terms of cost. We actually became fond of these doors on another remodel project we did. Maybe you've seen that video. And so we said, hey, you know what? Let's use those doors again. And then as we pan into the laundry room, what will become the laundry room area, same rear door where it has the blind set between the window panes. Now we actually have some of the tile set here that we're going to be using, so let's take a look. Well, that's a broken one. But here's a good one. So this is actually the tile that's going to go from the dining room area through the kitchen area into the laundry room. Now we found this tile, as I model it for the camera, we found this tile at Floor & Decor. It's a really good looking tile. It's 18 by 18, so it covers a lot of space, less grout and this type of thing, less work for the tileman. And it's really inexpensive. So depending on when you watch this, maybe that's something you can find at Floor & Decor. As we continue, maybe I'll find the tile that we're actually going to be using for the floor. It's here, I just don't know where. As I mentioned earlier, the AC units that we use, the manufacturer is Olmo, O-L-M-O. And again, we're going to put the link to where we purchased these. I was actually turned on to this manufacturer because there's many out there. You can go to Home Depot and buy a unit. But we were actually turned on to this because they only come in one standard size, whether it's 8,000 BTU, 12,000 BTU. So for those of you that know, once you cut the hole and put the sleeve for the unit, let's say, for example, that unit breaks and you found a one-off unit on sale at Home Depot. Well, it might have a certain measurement that's either a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch off to when you need to replace it. These, regardless of how many BTUs, again, they come in one standard size. So if one happens to give out, we can just go buy a new one, slide it in. We're not gonna have to be playing with the hole that we've made in the stucco, which can become a real nightmare. 8,000 BTU, that will go in the bedroom. That's only cooling. And then 12,000 BTU, cooling and heating. Of course, that's the one that'll go here in the living room, since we will be canceling this wall heater. As we come this way, you'll see that they've started the framing to make the depth the width of the closets come wider, the depth of this cabinet not so deep, so that we can put the pantry. And if you remember this bathroom, now this is the bathroom that actually had been remodeled once before. They already had a shampoo bowl notched out. After speaking with the contractor, he said, look, I'm not gonna charge you any more. I don't think it makes sense when you walk into the restroom to see the shampoo bowl. I think it should go on this wall so you have a nice clean wall of tile. We agreed, so we're gonna be moving that around. I mentioned also in the first video that the tub was in good shape. We were gonna keep the tub. Well, plans change. As they were demoing the bathroom, somebody dropped something, cracked the tub, so we need a new tub. So first off, let's talk about tubs. Well, we use traditional Kohler. We have been using the Elmbrook. Who knows what it costs where you're located, but this one, very inexpensive for what it is. Good modern look, and it's good in terms of the depth and so forth, so we'll be using that. In terms of the flooring that's going to go throughout the living room, hallway, and bedroom, this is actually what we've chosen. So if I grab a piece of the kitchen, so here's what we're using in the kitchen to give you some idea on top of the tub box. Pairs up real nice. And again, it gives it the scent. This is a just tile, but it gives it the sense of a wood plank. And once we get that all dialed in, it's going to be look really good color scheme. Now we were just here at the property a few days ago, but the contractor's trying to hit the timeline. So there's actually enough improvement, enough progress that I wanted to show you. So let's take a look inside. First, you'll notice that we have this black paper down. It's actually roofing paper. They do this to preserve the tile. So they already started laying some tile, not much, but some. They've made a lot of progress. You'll see that we've completely patched all the areas that they needed to open in order to run the new electrical, to cancel the wall heater, to install the AC. Our drywall patch is done. Taping is pretty much complete. And as we swing into the kitchen, if you remember, we're going to tile the entire unit. So the hardy backer is down on the floor. You come through the kitchen. All the drywall patching is done. Taping, they've been taping it. You'll see that we have all our stub outs for the copper. Of course, we're going to have a plug because we install a garbage disposal. Plugs per code for the countertop once it's set in. So this will be our sink, of course. Here we're going to have our refrigerator. You'll see, since we're redoing the plumbing anyhow, so we're going to put the ice maker box, the water line for the ice maker. We install that. You might as well. You're already replumbing the unit. It's a nice feature to add. And then, of course, the additional plugs for the counter. And then a plug because we purchased a venting microwave. So this vent actually does vent out the roof of the property. Sometimes you'll find, especially let's say it's a 2-story apartment building or something, that you don't have a vent that you can take to the roof. So then in that case, you would buy a microwave that recirculates the hot air. It stays within the unit, but at least it recirculates somehow. In this case, better bonus. We do have the vent. It already existed. It had a flex pipe, which is not to code. So the contractor installed a rigid pipe, and then we have the rigid pipe now, and that'll all be dialed in. And then of course here in the laundry area, hardy backer is down. Our drywall and the patching is pretty much complete. And then we have our box in for the washer. And if you remember, the water heater was once here. That now has all been enclosed, and that's going to go to the rear of the property. Let's take a look at the bathroom. So we don't have any electricity because we're redoing the electrical. So I'll explain and we'll have Matt pan in. But as you head into the restroom, you'll see that they've already tiled the shower. In my opinion, I think it looks great, but I'm the one who picked out the tile. You'll decide for yourself. Now we went with this feature, or this tile. It's a little bit smaller. In the past, we would have used something probably about 17 inches long. Same look. It's like a Carrera style tile that you'll find. Home Depot, Floor & Decor. And I had never seen this style. Same color scheme, the Carrera color, but given that it's smaller, you're able to lay it in a brick pattern so that you see more of those grout lines. Now, some people like less grout lines where they want it to look like a pure piece of marble or granite. In this case, because we're trying to modernize it, I thought, you know what? I found this new tile. It was fairly inexpensive. Let's try this. I really like the way it came out, but again, you'll decide for yourself. And of course, aside of that, hardy backer's down, drywall's in, taped, and soon enough here, we'll be finishing up the bathroom. Here in the bedroom, you'll see that again, all our drywall patching has taken place. This window seal is just about done. So I'll have Matt post a picture of what the window seals looked like previously to what they are now. We got rid of the ledge, the older style, tired 60s look. Now, again, sharp lines, that's what we wanted. That's why we went with the retrofit windows as opposed to the box windows. My AC now is in. And again, in the previous video, we gave you the manufacturer and the retailer if you're here in Southern California, in case that's something that would be helpful. And then here, you can picture this a little bit more. So now we have these 5-foot closet openings, okay? And we're gonna do a double shelf with double closet rods, okay, to give them more, essentially more storage, more area to hang more clothes. We find that the tenants, that's what they're looking for. So it will be a his and hers, and that's pretty much wrapped up. So you're gonna see here, we're gonna combine two segments. The segment where Kris is in the white shirt, that happened earlier. This comes after. We'll see how we piece it together. Why am I doing all this? Because I think it's important for you to see the process. It's important for you to know what should things look like as they progress with a contractor. Nothing negative against contractors, but you just want to know what you should be looking at yourself as the landlord in case you're unfamiliar with doing these type of rehabs. I know when I did my first one, I learned a whole lot, made a bunch of mistakes, and that's a story for another day. So that's where we are in the project so far. We're definitely going to keep you up to speed as this project progresses. And if I was you, what I would most be looking forward to is the final episode when I break down how much did we spend, how much did we buy the project for, how much of our capital is into the deal, when we refinance, how much money do we get out, what's our rate of return cash on cash, what's our rate of return in terms of the capital investment that we make to the property, and how much of a difference did it make? Had I just rented the property as it was when I bought it, what would have been the rent versus we go through the time and expense of doing the remodel. Well, where does that take our rents to the end? We're gonna break all that out for you in hopes that it helps you with your next project. So share this video with other would-be multifamily investors so they have an idea where to take their projects, or even if they invest in rental homes, rental condos, all this information is very important. Be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to our channel so that you get notifications when we release our next video. We have a lot of great content planned for you in the coming months. That'll do what? It's all geared towards helping you and assisting you build your financial legacy in multifamily properties. Kris German from The Apartment Dealer wishing you positive cash flow, tenants who behave, and much protection from Uncle Sam. Till next time.